Welcome back to Oral Health and Medicine, Separate Not Equal. For those of you who are new, my vlogs focus on the importance of integration between dentistry and medicine and the ways that this divide has impacted different communities and individuals in a lot of different ways. So during my most recent vlog, I discussed the need for more dentists and dental professionals, such as dental therapists, in rural and underserved areas. So I thought that having a dental therapist on this vlog would be a great way to learn more about the profession. So on today's vlog, I have the pleasure of talking with Nikita, who's a dental therapist, and she studied at King's College in London and is now treating patients and educating patients about oral health. So thank you so much for coming on today, Nikita. And would you just mind introducing yourself briefly and maybe talking a little bit about what a dental therapist does?
Yeah, hey, so thank you for having me first. My name's Nikita. I'm a dental therapist. I qualified not too long ago, actually. I qualified in December, just in 2020, and have been working as a therapist since March. So the scope of a dental therapist really, it's hygiene and therapy. So hygiene tends to cover like oral health screening, preventative measures, like fluoride application, fissure sealants, that kind of thing, along with screening for gum disease and gum disease treatment. And then the therapy side is slightly different. So that basically allows us to do pretty much the full range of dentistry on kids. And then on adults, we can again do all the preventative things and do fillings.
Nice. That's great to know. I feel like for me, I had never heard of this like career profession before. So thanks for like going into that a little bit. And then going off of that, is there a specific reason or experience that kind of pushed you to pursue dental therapy or in this type of field?
So I'm from a family of kind of healthcare professionals, so I always knew that I wanted to go into a healthcare kind of setting, and I'm very much a people person and I like people interaction as part of my job, so I knew that that was always going to be something that I wanted to do. I ended up going into dental nursing after my A levels, and I worked quite closely with a dental therapist, and I could just see myself really doing that job. And I love kids as well, and kids is a big part of the job as well. So, that's how I ended up going into it.
Nice. That's awesome. I feel like dental therapy is something, like I said, like not a lot of people are aware of it. And because
Yeah,
of that, a lot of people don't really know like how to get started if it's something they're interested in. Um,
yeah, definitely.
yeah.
There's so many different routes into it, though. You
Yeah.
can like all of my colleagues that I studied with all came by a different route, and there was a massive age range with all of us as well. So there's definitely many different ways you can get there.
Yeah, nice. So going off of that, um, why do you think that there's so much controversy and like debate about the use of dental therapists? And do you have any thoughts as to why dental therapists are approved in like certain states over others or certain places and not others?
Yeah, so when I did my final project in final year, I actually did it on the underutilization of dental therapists.
Oh wow.
Um, it was something that I did research into. I found that the biggest barrier to using therapists is just that the knowledge isn't out there of the scope of a therapist.
Mm.
Um, and even not even just amongst the general population, but even in the dental setting. When I did my research, a lot of dentists hadn't even heard of um, a dental therapist or other dental care professionals. When I asked, they wouldn't be able to tell you what a dental therapist does. So I think the education and knowledge, because it's such an up and coming thing and it's such a new
Mhm.
thing, was a massive barrier. And then I think the other thing, so I'm based in the UK. Like you said, I studied in London. So for us, we have like the National Health Service, and we are kind of generally fully private. So that tends to be a barrier as well, because our scope allows us to cover pediatrics, but then we don't have the NHS performer number to be able to sort of do
Mm.
the NHS work as easily as it should be. So then sort of pay becomes an issue, and how they're going to pay you, and how the patients are going to be how you're going to explain to patients how they're going to see you and things like that. And then the other thing I found was that, because again the education isn't out there amongst dental professionals, consequently amongst the general public, people just don't know about them, and they then say, oh, I'm not sure whether I want to see a therapist because I don't know what it is, I'd rather just see a dentist. So yeah, those were the main things I found, really.
Got it. And then actually, based on what I've read, it seems like one of the main reasons for the dentists that do know are aware of what dental therapists are, one of the main reasons they don't support the like dental therapy model is because they argue dentists are like better educated and they have more like extensive training than dental therapists for oral care. And I was just wondering what your thoughts were on this.
Um, I'm quite strongly opinionated about this, obviously being a dental therapist
Yeah.
myself. Um, I don't know whether you've read anything about in the UK, a lot of the universities, the first 3 years of dental school and the first the 3 years that are dental therapy are exactly the same. So they do joint lectures, joint clinics with the dentists. So the first 3 years of education are exactly the same. So saying that we're not as educated or not as well trained is probably not the right thing to say. I think people not knowing that we are doing the same things as the dentist, but our scope is then cut off when it comes to things like crowns, bridges, dentures. That's the things that they do in their 2 final years. So yeah, I'm very strongly opinionated about that, and I feel that they are very undervalued within the team. And actually, if everyone in the team worked to their full scope, there would be a much better patient journey, and you would able to see more patients more efficiently in shorter spaces of time as well. So
Wow,
yeah.
yeah. I didn't know that the first 3 years were like exactly the same.
Yeah.
Wow. Um, so now like looking at the future of dental therapists, what are your thoughts on using dental therapists to expand access to oral health care, particularly in like underserved areas?
So I think it's such an underutilized thing. Like, therapists could be used in those populations specifically because we're able to go out into the populations and do kind of community trips. We're able to go out and do like visits into schools and healthcare centers and things like that, where maybe dentists may not necessarily have the time to do that if they've got full diaries and things like that. So I think utilizing not only therapists but dental nurses as well, they have a big role to play in supporting all of this as well. And when it's oral health education, it it can be done by a dental therapist, dental hygienist, dental nurse. And I think if we used that more, dental disease in the world would be significantly less, because I think we could be used for prevention rather than treatment.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much for all of that. This has been like super informative and I've learned a lot more about dental therapist roles. And then I have one last question. What is your favorite part about being a dental therapist and why?
Um, Good question. My favorite part of being a dental therapist is that there's so much scope. Once you're qualified, you still don't stop learning. There's always scope to develop and always scope to expand your knowledge and keep learning and go down different avenues. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to just end up in a clinic. There are so many different paths that you can go down, so many different routes to learn. So yeah, I like that it has a lot of opportunity and a lot of development in the role.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Nikita, for being on Oral Health and Medicine, Separate Not Equal. It's been amazing learning what you do. And for those of you who want to follow along on Nikita's journey as a dental therapist, please follow along on her account at Teeth with Keat on Instagram. And then I'm going to be linking her account below for those of you who would like to check it out. So thank you so much again, Nikita.
Thank you for having me.